I never thought I'd be sitting here saying this, but I think Gears of War Reloaded is going to fail. Not just a little, not a mild stumble. I mean fail hard. Fail in a way that leaves damage. Damage to the community, to the legacy, and to the hope that's barely hanging on in the Gears of War fanbase right now. And trust me, this isn't some angry rant. This isn't clickbait. This is coming from a place of heartbreak. Because I love this franchise. I grew up with it. I defended it when others left. I stuck with it through Gears 4, through Gears 5, through years of silence. I've been here the whole time, and I've never felt more let down. Because after 4 long years of waiting, of hoping, what do we get? Not Gears 6, not E-Day, not even a real update on the future. No, we get Reloaded, a stripped down remaster of a game we've already played to death. No Horde, no Beast, no Overrun, no meaningful PvE of any kind. And the Coalition seems to think this is enough, that we'll just eat it up, and that we'll be fine waiting even longer for something more meaningful just because it has the Gears name on it. And I know I'm not the only one feeling this way. Let's break this down. Let's talk about why I think Gears of War Reloaded is going to fail, and why this failure could seriously hurt the one game that actually matters, Gears of War E-Day. Let's start with the core issue. Reloaded isn't here to reimagine anything. It's here to recycle. From the start, this game has been marketed like it's a big tribute to the original, a faithful return to where it all began. And yeah, it looks incredible. The environments are beautifully lit, the character models are updated, the presentation feels next gen. But when you actually play it, it feels like someone duct taped old mechanics onto new visuals and hoped nobody would notice. The movement is stiffer than it was in Gears 5 or even something like Gears 3. The Gnasher is wildly inconsistent. The long shot hitboxes are borderline broken. The camera pulls and player feedback are weak. And the pacing, it feels like it's trying to recreate 2006 in an era where games have moved miles past that style of combat. Reloaded is stuck in the past, but not in a good way. Not in a faithful remake kind of way. It's a lazy shortcut kind of way. A way that says, hey, remember this? That's enough, right? But it's not enough. Not in 2025. Not anymore. The original Gears of War succeeded not just because it looked cool, but because it felt fresh. It defined a generation. Reloaded, on the other hand, feels like it's trying to profit off that memory without understanding what made it special in the first place. Instead of bringing in modern design principles, it clings to outdated ones. Instead of innovating, it imitates. And that's not a tribute, that's a trap. The biggest mistake by far is this. There's no PvE besides the campaign. No Horde, no Escape, no Overrun, no Beast, no casual co-op fallback of any kind. And that's not just a problem, that's a death sentence for long-term player retention. You know what has kept Gears 5 alive to this day? It's not ranked, it's not execution, it's Horde and PvE. Players log in every week just to play those modes with friends. They grind XP, they build loadouts, they experiment, they have fun, without having to sweat every single match. PvE is what gives Gears legs. It's what made Gears 2 and 3 so replayable. It's the reason people stuck around long after the competitive scene dried up. Like, just remember, Gears of War Ultimate Edition died a year later. And yet somehow the Coalition thought launching a full-price remaster without any of those features was acceptable. It's not. It's embarrassing. If you're only targeting PvP players, the smallest and most niche group in the Gears community, you're cutting out the majority of your audience on day one. And worst of all, it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what makes Gears of War Gears of War. It's not about shotguns and wall bouncing. It's about survival, about intensity, about teamwork under pressure. And no mode captures that better than Horde. Taking it out is like having Halo without co-op, or Call of Duty without zombies. It strips out the heart. Even if we ignore the missing content, the gameplay still just doesn't feel right. This is a remaster. It should feel better than the original. It should move smoother, hit cleaner, flow better. Instead, It feels worse than the original. Some of the weapons are unresponsive. Cover sticking feels off. Feedback from getting kills is completely underwhelming. Every gunfight feels like a coin flip. I've played every Gears game religiously. I know what right feels like, and this isn't it. There are indie third-person shooters on Steam that feel more responsive than this remaster. The fact that the Coalition is selling this as a modern shooter and expecting people to grind it, even when the core gameplay is this inconsistent, it tells me that they either didn't playtest it properly or they just don't care. And either one is a huge problem. Reloaded doesn't just need polish, it needs a complete rethinking of what makes Gears feel satisfying. Because right now, it feels empty. It feels off. It feels wrong. One of the strangest choices the Coalition made with Reloaded is acting like bringing this remaster to PlayStation is going to somehow inject fresh life into the franchise. Like there's this massive untapped audience that's going to latch on and keep this game alive for months or even a year after launch. But here's the thing, they don't get it. PlayStation players en masse are not going to live in ranked King of the Hill. They are not going to learn bounce patterns and spend 30 minutes a day in custom movement lobbies. That's just not how the platform culture works. What PlayStation players will do, and this is a pattern across hundreds of games, is this. They'll try the campaign, they'll play through it on normal or hardcore, maybe they'll dabble in co-op or some casual modes, and then they'll move on. But Gears Reloaded doesn't even give them that option. There's no horde mode. So exactly what are they supposed to stick around for? A sweaty PvP only experience with no proper onboarding, full of franchise veterans who have been bouncing for 15 years straight. That is not helping or welcoming. That's gatekeeping. The Coalition is setting themselves up for disappointment if they think the game is going to find new legs on PlayStation without a story to pull people in or PvE to keep them invested. They're fundamentally misunderstanding the habits of the player base they're trying to attract. If you look at the current gaming landscape, Gears Reloaded isn't launching in a vacuum. We've got Helldivers 2, a live service PvE powerhouse that keeps dropping updates and keeping its community engaged. Fortnite continues to reinvent itself every single season and offer players every mode under the sun. Even a game like Call of Duty, for all of its problems, knows how to keep people playing. Warzone, zombies, DMZ, multiplayer, progression. It gives people reasons to stay. What does Reloaded offer? One mode, no PvE, no variety, and no innovation. The reality is that the players don't have time to waste anymore. There are too many polished, engaging, frequently updated games to stick around for something this bare bones. Reloaded is going to get buried by relevance. And that's what makes this launch feel not just tone deaf, but completely disconnected from what the modern market expects. And here's the part that hurts the most, and I mean this genuinely. I get why this is happening in a sense. In my mind, and maybe I'm wrong, the real reason we're getting Gears of War Reloaded is so that the Coalition can raise some extra money, get some attention, and pour that into the game that actually matters. Gears of War E-Day. And in theory, that's a good thing. If E-Day delivers. If it's something bold, cinematic, fresh, and worthy of the name Gears of War. But that doesn't erase the fact that this is what we got after 4 years of waiting. No trailer, no gameplay, no dev diary, just silence. Then this, a remaster out of nowhere. A PvP only cash grab dressed in nostalgia. And for longtime fans who have stuck with this franchise through everything, it feels like betrayal. We deserved a reveal. We deserved something that honored our patience, something to believe in. Instead, we're left feeling like we're getting milked, not rewarded. And if E-Day fails too, I'm not sure this franchise recovers. To the Coalition, if you're listening, hear this with respect. This wasn't it. You still have time. E-Day is your chance to right the ship. But you cannot afford another swing and a miss. You cannot keep betting on nostalgia. You cannot keep leaving behind the very fans that built this franchise. Give us something that evolves the formula, something that excites, something that finally says, Gears is back. The fans still holding on, I get it. We're starved. We've waited. We've hoped. And we keep showing up even when we feel like we're being ignored. But we deserve better. We deserve a studio that fights for this franchise like we've been fighting for it. And until that happens, Reloaded will just be a painful reminder of what could have been. Let's hope this failure wakes somebody up, because E-Day, it has to hit. For Gears, for the fans, for the legacy, let's pray it's not already too late. If you made it this far, you're a real one. I appreciate you more than you know. And if you want to support the channel for just 99 cents a month, hit that join button and become part of the squad. Subscribe if you haven't already, drop a like if this video hits home, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments. This is Xtra Father, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.